from 2016 to 2020, the number of children diagnosed with depression grew by 27%. In 2021, 5 million children ages 12 to 17 had at least one depressive episode, with young girls nearly 3 times more likely than boys to experience it.
And while there are any number of causes for stress to trauma, parenting styles can also play a part. So Dr. Allison Mitzner is the author of Calm and Confident Parenting. She joined us now to talk about something called inconsistent parenting. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to start by saying we are not blaming parents, but can you break down for us what inconsistent parenting is?
Sure. And you cannot blame parents. This is the hardest thing in parenting. Yeah, for sure. So inconsistent parenting, it's when rules and expectations are not clear, they're not enforced. Some parents have a hard time saying no, or there might be erratic punishments. Sometimes you're in a good mood and you might be a little more lax, and other times you're more strict. So this can be really confusing for the kids.
Yeah, of course it can. So what might some of those behaviors actually look like?
So again, there might be some parents that have a trouble time saying no. The most common are giving in and empty threats. So you might, you're exhausted and your kid, you took away screen time, but they keep asking, and it's easier to just give in. Or those empty threats, when you tell your child they're not going to an event when you know full well we're going.
They're going. I'm warning you.
Exactly. And after a while, they might not believe you.
Sure.
Have less confidence in that.
Okay, so how does inconsistent parenting actually affect a child's mental health?
It's true. So they start to see their parents' or guardians' responses where it's unpredictable and they can't count on them. So it can be overwhelming or unsettling for them. And research does show, like you mentioned, inconsistent parenting, it can lead to aggressiveness, impulsiveness, even anxiety and depression. So it's that unpredictability, unreliability that can lower their self-esteem, maybe have some self-doubt, increase insecurities, these things that can make them vulnerable to depression down the road.
I mean, I think it applies to adults too, right? We all want to know kind of what to expect. If a parent catches himself doing any of those things that you mentioned, any of the behaviors, how do they switch to more consistent forms of parenting?
And again, they shouldn't beat themselves up. It happens all the time. Our kids are always going to push our buttons. But for the most part, you want to, and it takes time. You're not going to switch overnight. Be consistent and not vary in your intentions and your disciplines. The best you can, keep a set routine, rules, schedule along the line. Because as you said, kids do really well with consistency and knowing what to expect. And things are going to come up all the time. And it's having that solid foundation of how to adapt when the unexpected does come up.
Okay, so you broke down for us what inconsistent parenting is. So how can parents be more consistent?
A few ways. And first, to know that parents often think that they need a ton of rules to keep their kids safe, and that's not true. You want to have just a few that you know yourself can keep to and enforce, because otherwise having a lot of rules that you're not going to enforce is counterproductive. Kids actually can learn that rules can be broken. So keep just those that you know you can work well for your family, you're going to enforce, that your kids understand, that they know there'll be consequences for. And also the consistency across board with all siblings is important.
Right.
And that you remember.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Dr. Mitzner, thank you so much for joining us. It's always good to see you and good to have you here. And of course, if you're looking for more parenting tips or you want to purchase a Calm and Confident Parenting, you can visit her website or follow her on Instagram as well. The information all right there on your screen.